Nice job, kid. Only a few more days left of your shift. Although unfortunately I've been informed that you've decided to theorize about me and my establishment. As much as I wanted to get some of these stories on my chest for my own, I never thought anyone would actually reveal them to the world. Well, I'll have you know that my story is not for the faint of heart. It involves sadness, loss, pain, and above all, death. Hello everyone, and welcome to the story of PopGoes. Or should I say welcome to the story of a man named Fritz, also known as phone guy / coward / liar / Jeremy. Yeah, I think we might just stick with Fritz. Anyway, enough debating about names, let's talk about PopGoes. The game that really, I don't think is given as much love as it deserves. Honestly, there are hardly any videos out there that cover this game. If you want to know how many theory videos there are of this game, it's a whopping 2. Yeah. One wasn't even in English, and I can no longer find that video on YouTube. Like, honestly, the game literally asked people to theorize on it from the start, and no one decided to take it up on that offer? Well, this is where I come in. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the phone messages of the game and the true meaning behind them. In part 2, I'll go through the good ending of the game, both how to get it and what it means. If you haven't already, go check out my own all phone messages video for this game. It's definitely a good place to start. Link is in the description. Before we get into the nights, there's one final thing you need to know about this game. After you complete a night, there's a little mini game you need to complete. Within these mini games are some secret images you can collect by interacting with certain objects. I'll also be showing off all these as well. We all good? And let's hop right into night 1. So, night 1 is pretty standard. Starts off with Fritz giving the introduction to the place.
The name's Fritz, and welcome to the PopGoes Pizzeria, the next generation of kids' entertainment.
Then he immediately states the elephant in the room, or should I say the animatronics in the room.
It's a lot to take in. And yes, I know there are a bunch of anthropomorphic plastic animals around you, watching you work. Trust me when I say I know how that feels.
You know, we got a weasel and a badger and squirrels. Where's the elephant animatronic? Oh, sorry, anyway. Fritz then goes on to state that animatronics function more like robots that can be programmed to do, well, pretty much anything.
This place is fully automated and run entirely by them. No human employees as of yet. Don't need them, honestly. The staff room exists purely to keep the ventilation opening out of reach of customers. Cooking, cleaning, printing, performing, taking care of kids, etc., etc. It's all down to the cartoon animals. All very efficient. Yes. Did I tell you that I built the characters too? That's what the 3D printers were originally for, before they were repurposed to do the same thing, but a lot smaller. Didn't need anyone for that either. Designed, printed, put together, all by yours truly.
Yeah, I don't think this guy is ever going to help unemployment rates anytime soon. The last major thing Fritz mentions is how the place runs during the day.
I bet you can just guess how most of it works by taking a look at the place. Though I honestly think the next generation of kids' entertainment sounds dull, it is a fitting motto.
I think that motto sounds dull. Sheesh, you obviously haven't heard the motto on FNAF 5.
Welcome to Sonic's Fast Food Diner, where we put the fast in fast food.
Now that's not just dull. That's cringe. Whew. But yes, the place is pretty self-explanatory. The monitors that you use to see the cameras are for kids to play games on and design and print toys with the 3D printers scattered around the building. So, night 1. Really isn't that interesting, huh? Well, there is this one line.
Again, they are completely harmless. They aren't physically capable of hurting anybody.
Because, believe it or not, Fritz is actually right. The animatronics aren't actually capable of hurting anyone or anything. Now, you may be thinking, but you can die in this game from the animatronics. Well, that is actually half true. Now think about it. The animatronics really wanted to hurt you, then why don't they just do so? I mean, you're literally sitting right next to them. No, instead what they do is try and stress you out by either snatching your phone, shutting down your monitor, or by showing up in places they aren't meant to be. It's only if you stressless freak out, that's when they can actually attack you. Which is probably, as Fritz said, your imagination getting out of hand.
Your imagination might get a tad bit out of control. Stress does that to you.
However, PopGoes does try to kill you, but by building another animatronic to do the job for him, the Black Rabbit. Now I've explained what that is and the reason why it is built in the next video. But for now, it's time to get into night 2. So the second night was when the squirrels would start to wander into the vents. Hence, that is pretty much the main focus of the night.
I have given you access to the ventilation system, which means you should be able to turn on the heating grids once in a while to warm up the place. They'll stay on for about a minute probably, but that's long enough, right?
I'm sorry, did he say 1 minute? Talk about trying hard to save money on electricity bills, yeesh. But he does later say why he doesn't allow them to stay on for that long.
Not that I don't trust you, well, everybody can make mistakes, right? These things overheat if they're left on for long periods of time, and I can't risk that. We all know what happened to that attraction last year.
And this is our first time of the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's, as the attraction he is referring to here is the FNAF free attraction burning to the ground due to faulty wiring. And those who are thinking, why not Five Nights at Freddy's 6? Because this game only takes the first three Five Nights at Freddy's games into consideration. So, we know that this game occurs 1 year after Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Now before we move on to night 3, there is one line that Fritz says that probably a lot of people may overlook.
Come on, let's not give them more stuff to do. These guys are already busy enough during the day. They deserve a break. During the night, PopGoes and the others are supposed to be, resting. Oh, and Stone the Crow in the car park, he can't physically move out of his birdcage, so he's pretty much resting all the darn time.
This points out one major fact of this game. Fritz does not know that the animatronics move at night. If you want more proof of that, he also says this during night 2.
If you do your job especially well, I might even give you a bonus. But I guess there isn't even that much for you to do.
In fact, throughout the entire game, he doesn't ever talk about the need to defend yourself, talk about how to survive the night, unlike a lot of other Five Nights at Freddy style games. Now, what does this mean? Well, Fritz is the one who built them, so how is it that he doesn't know that the fact they can move at night? And the answer is coming up in part 2. I'd like you to have this question in the back of your minds for now. Alright, let's move on to night 3. We start off night 3 with Fritz correcting himself that instead of the heater staying on for 1 minute bursts, they only stay on for
9 seconds or something.
9 seconds?! And I thought 1 minute was bad enough. Honestly, I would not want to visit this place during the winter. He then follows up by saying how great the place is during the day. Again.
During the day you can really feel it. The fantasy, the fun, the safety, Kids can run down the halls and be greeted by the characters. They gather around and sing with them on the stage. They build and print out these figurines like posable toys.
Yeah, way to rub it in on my bad career choice as a security guard, thank you. And then we are introduced to Blake the Badger, who is obsessed to play a kids game known as Simon Says.
For a quick explanation, it's a game where someone shows you a colour, like, green, yellow, red, and you have to repeat the same colour back to them. Sometimes there are multiple colours which you need to repeat in the same order back, but in the case of Blake and the boy, who was quite young, it was only one.
Unfortunately, in this case, failure to replace Simon Says with Blake quick enough and causes your whole system to crash. Yeah, talk about attention seeker. Apart from that, Fritz also gets interrupted during the call, revealing that he has a brother.
You know the game Simon Says? Well, it was like that. He just turned it... hold on now. I'll sort the rest out later. I'll leave this message here. The options should be up for you now. Sorry about this. Nothing major, really. My brother was just asking me who I was talking to. I've told you about him, right? The order of these calls might be a bit confusing later. Depends on how I organise them.
Now, this wouldn't appear to be anything out of the ordinary, but there is one line this night that reveals that this is a complete lie.
Oh, you don't know what that game is? That's alright, no matter.
Now think about it. Why would he stop himself from saying the name Simon again? Was it because the Simon that interrupted him before wasn't his brother, it was an animatronic? When the static noises happened the first time was right after he said the word Simon. It is fairly reasonable to assume that saying the name of the animatronic then caused it to activate. However, this animatronic is very closely tied with the good ending of the game, so more on him next video as well. But all you need to know for now is that there's another animatronic made by Fritz, which he named after his brother, which he keeps close to him. But now it's time for Night 4, where we finally start to learn a lot about Fritz and his backstory. You know, you might as well call this night the story of Fritz, as he decides to introduce himself to the fullest here.
Right then, I was born in November 1968 in Texas, lived a fine life up until my teens, had no real problems with my family, but we weren't exactly rich. My father was an architect at the time, and my mother stayed home with my brother and I. Had an accident in my teens, stuff I really don't want to talk about, please don't ask. Might explain in a later call or something if there is time. Anyway, fortunately I survived the injury, believe it or not. It was all down to a very generous donor of blood. The whole thing was pretty strange and vague for us, and all I know is a small team of people, or maybe it was one person, was willing to give tons of blood to the hospital, and after an entire encyclopedia of signed papers, the transfusion was allowed on behalf of the procedure being an experiment. I was close to death, bear in mind. I lost most of my memory from before the incident, and the whole event caused a huge stir in the media. I was 18, and with the state I was in, paparazzi wasn't the best treatment. You know?
Okay, that was a lot to take in, but I think he gives his own story better than I could. Anyway, of all that, the part I'm most interested in is the injury. Hey, this is a Five Nights at Freddy's game, alright? Someone always gets injured. Anyway, we can deduct that the injury occurred between 1986 and 1987. We know this based on stating he was 18 during the incident, and he was born in 1968. This is also finally where I can show you one of the secret images we get during the mini-games each night. Given Fritz describes the whole procedure as like an experiment, this image, I would believe, is a picture of the transfusion of the blood. And given there's only one person in the photo, the donated blood seems to come from one person. I guess that leaves the obvious question, where did that person get all the blood from? Well, Night 5 is where we get that answer. But before that, there are two more things that Fritz reveals.
In 2016, I made a video game with Bonnie's help. Oh, Bonnie's the name of my daughter, I'm not sure if I mentioned that.
This is also further confirmed with this image that was hidden in the Night 1 minigame. The other thing Fritz reveals is something a little unexpected.
I'll let you in on a secret. Not a big one, but I think it might be interesting to an outsider. The characters that you see around here weren't originally going to be for a pizzeria. Crazy, right? They're colourful cartoon animals with pink guitars, yellow eyes. Well, it's true. They originally had a totally different purpose. I get nightmares pretty easily. Stupid stuff, like going to the zoo or standing on a tall building. I'll go to sleep that night and wake up in a cold sweat from a nightmare about a creepy porcelain doll. It's ridiculous. Anyway, not a lot of medication can help with that kind of thing, so for a few months I tried a psychic route, like mystic, almost religious kind of solution. It was recommended by a friend I've spoken to online, and it worked, but only once. The idea was that if I designed and created a scarecrow kind of ornament that was entirely designed to fight what I was having nightmares of, then it would appear in those nightmares and destroy, in a sense, the fear from its core. Anyway, I ended up making a load of these scarecrow designs, with only one of them actually working. At that time, I heard about this auction thing going on in America. I travelled over there, ended up buying some things, one of which was a hat that used to belong to a famous pizzeria character, which caused a bit of controversy in the area. I bought the remains of an old busted robot, based the gang around it, and a box filled with the parts. I have them here in the attic. Anyways, from there I thought to myself, what if I started my own pizzeria and changed the remaining scarecrows into cartoon animatronics? And well, I did.
So, the animatronics were designed to stop people from having nightmares. Yeah, ironic, I know. And in case you thought otherwise, yes, the hat PopGoes is wearing is Freddy's hat. And even more interesting is that the box of parts Fritz bought, well, that is the same box of parts from Five Nights at Freddy 3. This is confirmed in the Night 2 secret image. And this was not a coincidence. For Night 5, we find out that Fritz definitely has a tie-in with Freddy Fazbear. Get ready to have your mind blown because there's so much revealed in Night 5, it might be a lot to take in. So I'm going to start with this question. How are Fritz and Freddy's connected? Well, if you have been paying attention to the dates, you probably have figured it out by now.
It was a great place, which is primarily why I started working there. I worked at Freddy Fazbear's, yes, though it was many, many years ago, mind you.
Many years ago, huh? Could we say around, I don't know, 1987 perhaps? Maybe during a certain injury? Certain incident? Come on guys, work with me here. 1987? The bite of 87? Oh fine, let me say this clearly then. Fritz was the bite of 87 victim. Now for those who don't know what that is, let me recap. In the first Five Nights at Freddy's, Phone Guy talks about how the animatronics were allowed to walk around during the day before an animatronic decided to bite a person. And I bet you can imagine that an animatronic bites a lot harder than a human, or even a dog for that matter. This incident was called the bite of 87. It was then deducted this bite happened during the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 era. Now what was the night guard's name in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that was moved to the day shift after night 6? Jeremy Fitzgerald. Now Fritz and Fitzgerald may just be a coincidence that it sounds similar, but there is an Easter egg in PopGoes that backs us up. If you panic enough in this game, you will start to see Stone the Crow on the cameras around the building. But very rarely, Stone will turn to Crystal, who holds up signs of very strange messages. One of these being, his name is not Fritz. So there you go, crazy, right? Well, there's more. A lot more. I can also tell you which animatronic bit Fritz. And that was Bonnie.
I was a fan of that franchise, named my kid after one of the characters there. Not because I was a fan, really, but because I wanted to love that name again. After, it doesn't matter.
Wanted to love that name again, huh? After the fact it almost killed you? So that's gotta be it, right? Ha! Well, of course not! I can also prove who it was that donated the blood for Fritz. That's Jeremy's injury. And this is very disturbing.
There were some murders related to the location back in the 80s. People found some corpses buried in the animatronic suits. There's a popular theory going around that the guy who did it had purple skin. Totally purple skin and purple clothes. Sounds like a demon or something, right? Something paranormal. I don't know. But around that time was when I got help from someone in the hospital. We don't know where the blood came from. So, what if it was him? Oh god, this is ridiculous.
Nope, you are right on the money there, Jezza, because this child murderer is in fact someone that you know a bit too well. Exhibit A, this secret image in Night 5. And Exhibit B, the cutscene for beating Impossible Night. Yes, Pebble Guy from Five Nights at Freddy's is Jeremy's brother. Yeah, that was just sounding your mind blowing. That's right, boom! Unfortunately, I was not the only one to figure this out, unfortunately. So did Fritz. the final night. Now, given the information you just heard, I want to say that this night was very self-explanatory, and I thought I would just finish today's video with the phone call.
There are only a few minutes left of recording. I was thinking about some things since my last message. I feel like I haven't been honest enough with you. I've been trying, please know that. There's some things I just... I have a question for you. A serious, personal question. I'll try to set an example. There's this person that's really close to me. He's recently been acting strange, maybe a bit scary. People say he's done horrible things. If you know who he is, would you look past his errors and try to bring him back into your life? Do you think you can trust him? No, this will do. Thank you for working with me so much. This is the end of your shift at the PopGoes Pizzeria. Let me know your answer.
And with that, we have reached the end of part 1 of the story of PopGoes. As I said, it's an intense and dark story, but next time it is about to get even darker. Next time I plan on answering the following questions. What is the good ending? And how do you get it? Who is this Simon animatronic? Who do we play as in the game? What is the animatronic that PopGoes builds? What happened to Fritz after that last phone call? And will I actually be able to answer all these questions? Maybe. But there is one question I'd like to see if you guys have an answer for. What is crystal? Honestly, this animatronic is just so random. I would just say it's stone, but we're just seeing it different due to hallucination. But I think that's a very dull explanation. Plus, we're also given this secret image in Night 3, which I believe is meant to help figure out who it is. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on that in the episode as a whole, and make sure to look out for part 2 in the coming month. And remember, that was just my theory. So if you have your own theories, I would love to hear them in the comments below. See you all next time. Bye bye.